Amazon is definitely one of the best places to get cheap ski gear. And in my 3 seasons of skiing, I have definitely accumulated quite a bit of stuff. So today I want to show you some of these things and let you know what my honest opinion is and whether I would recommend them or not. So let's get into it. So starting off, it's this helmet from Outdoor Masters. My husband and I both got one when we first started skiing. This is his. He still uses this. I mean, the features are pretty basic. There's some ventilation here. Since this is a ski-specific helmet, there's a lot of padding to make it warmer for you. This ventilation here is fixed, so you can't open it and close it. Just for comparison, this is my Giro helmet. So this one you can actually open and close the vents based on what the weather is, which I really like. My husband has been wearing this for 3 ski seasons and he's never had a problem with it. So if you get cold, I think you can maybe just add more things to your head and you should be fine. And for goggles, there is a little strap here that opens. I'm not a huge fan of the system because you basically have to put the goggles on before you put the helmet on, and I find that personally to be a little bit annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. There is adjustment here for tightness. This works super well. It feels very high quality. And yeah, that's about it. Another difference that I see between this one and my more name brand version, I guess, is there's a lip on this one that kind of prevents snow from accumulating on the top of your goggles, whereas this is basically just flat, or it just goes straight down. And for me, it doesn't actually cover the goggles, so I'm not a fan of that. But really, the biggest difference between these two is that this one has MIPS. That means that the inner layer of this helmet kind of has a little bit of a rotation, and what that means is that it will protect your head better when you take a fall. And I definitely think that is the most important feature of a helmet, and I highly recommend you getting one of those. This one I think cost me $80 or $90, and this one was $50. So I would definitely splurge to get a MIPS helmet. I think the cheapest one I found on Amazon is $75, and I highly recommend that because you only have one head, okay? You definitely don't want to bring an injury, so if there is one thing that I think you should really splurge on, it is a helmet. And you really don't have to spend that much more, right? So for this, my husband obviously doesn't have any complaints. Like, I really wanted that MIPS protection. But yeah, I think overall I would not recommend this, but I do like Outdoor Masters as a company, and they make some good stuff. They actually also make a MIPS helmet that I think is under $100, so definitely check that out. Next, I want to talk about goggles. I've used these two from Amazon. So this one, I got offered to test it on some Facebook group, so I got it for free, but I think it was retailing like $30, $40. I actually really like this one. I feel like it fits me pretty well. It doesn't really fog up, but unfortunately, I don't think they're selling this anymore. So I'll try to see if I can find something that looks very similar. And this one was my first pair when I first started skiing, and I had so many problems with it. I had a lot of fogging issues with this, and I felt like it would scratch easily, but I think it's because I would constantly want to wipe it because it was fogging up, and you definitely shouldn't be doing that. But I think a lot of it has to do with my nose bridge. So people would call it Asian nose sometimes when you're shopping for goggles. You can see that there's like an Asian fit, and it's because we have a lower nose bridge and there's like a bigger gap, and I think this is just not made for Asian people. My husband had the exact same pair and he did not have any complaints for it, and in fact he actually used it for more than 2 seasons. Both of these, I use them in pretty much like all conditions. They worked really well, powder, sunny day, whatever. I think in terms of tint, they're kind of mid-range, so it would work okay under all conditions, but it's not ideal under any conditions, if that makes sense. Both of these actually allow you to take the lens out and change them, but personally, I can never really be bothered with it. I don't like to bring an extra lens with me, even if I have done in the past, like it just stays in my backpack or my jacket and I don't end up using it. If you're just starting out, you don't want to spend a lot of money, Amazon goggles I think are more than worth it. I think this one was about $40. And if you want to spend a little bit more, and to be fair, it is like more than twice the amount. It's like a little bit over $100. I have these Glade goggles that actually are photochromatic and they change tint based on the brightness of your surroundings. I personally prefer the system over like changing lenses, but I guess this is a little bit of a tangent. Side note, this goggle sock, I highly recommend you get it from Amazon. Like, you will find these on the mountains and they will sell them for like $12, $20, but you don't need to spend a lot of money on these. Just get a 4-pack on Amazon for $12. You really don't need anything fancy for this. I actually use this all the time because it is so low effort. Like, you just pop it on like this. It's super easy, and you can keep your goggles on the helmet. You don't have to take it off and stuff it in a bag. It is just really easy and, you know, very small investment for something that will protect your goggles very well. Next, I want to talk about this gadget here, and this is a ski carry. So you put your skis through these 2 loops here. The orange part is for your poles, and then this main loop here is for your skis, and you just kind of like put them through this, and this is a shoulder strap for you to actually carry your skis. And I mainly got these because I am such a baby when it comes to carrying skis for more than 5 minutes. So I wanted something that is lighter weight. I can put this in my jacket when I'm not using it, and it will just make carrying skis that much easier. I think this was like $12, super inexpensive. And if you're like me and you don't like lugging skis around, I definitely recommend this. Although I will say that, like, if I'm walking anywhere less than 5 minutes, I don't even bother with it because it is a little bit annoying to get on and off. If you have a backpack with ski carry, that will definitely be easier to use and more comfortable. But I think if you don't want to carry that many things, this is a good option. Now I want to move on to clothing items, and I think here you're really looking for very similar qualities, whether you're talking about gloves or outerwear or even inner layers. Like, you're really looking for breathability, waterproofness. Obviously, you want to be warm. The higher end items will also be lighter weight. That's why they cost more. And the reason these things are important is because when you're skiing, you're going to sweat. And when you're on the lift, you're going to cool down again. And if you don't have the proper gear, sometimes you'll run into the issue where you're sweating while you're skiing. And when you're on the lift again, that sweat freezes and then it will make you very cold. That's why ski gear can be very expensive, because you're really trying to go for that maximum breathability, warmth, but also like in a lighter weight package. So let's start with these mittens. These are about $20. They're really very inexpensive. I actually wore these quite a bit this season because I had to lend my other pair to my husband, and I enjoyed wearing them very much. They were a little bit harder to get in and out of because, like I said, like a cheaper thing will be bulkier, and this definitely is a little bulkier, even though it doesn't look like that. It really just requires like a thicker material to like really give you that warmth, and it is pretty warm, but I definitely do feel like the sweat lingers a little bit longer in these compared to the more expensive Dakine. Yeah, the sweat definitely lingers a bit more than my more expensive pair, but the waterproofness is pretty good. I mean, I wore these maybe more than 10 days and they're still very clean, held up really well, and I've never really had an issue of them getting wet, although to be fair, I never took these into the rain. So it comes with this wrist loop, and I find this to be essential for ski gloves because it's really easy to lose them. And if you're wearing mittens like me, I usually wear mittens and nothing else, you will be taking them on and off on the hill, and it's very easy to drop them, especially on the lift. So yeah, this feature is essential. I also like that there's kind of this mechanism here where you can connect these 2 pieces, and that is just so that if you're like packing these, throwing them in the car, like they'll stay together. So I would definitely recommend these. Next, I want to talk a little bit about this. Let me just put it on real quick. So this is a ski mask. I look ridiculous. It works like this. Okay. I personally am not a fan of this just because this is not the style that I prefer, because I have longer hair and I just don't like having the hair kind of all inside of it. And even when I have them tied up, like it just feels really uncomfortable. I personally prefer a tube. You don't really need to think too much about these. I think anything that covers your face will make you a little bit warmer. So it's really just a matter of personal preference. So yeah, I would say I recommend this just because I feel like it's really hard to go wrong here. You don't really need anything fancy for this. I have even gotten a few of my tubes for free. I have a GoPro one and I have one from Loveland that I got for free. So yeah, just don't think too much about this type of stuff. So next I want to talk about my absolute favorite Amazon find, and that is this bib here. I actually wore this quite a bit last season because I find this to be a little bit more comfortable. It gives me a little bit more freedom of movement than my Flylow bib. For comparison, my Flylow bib retails at over $400. I got it for 200 something, I think, and I think you can pretty reliably get them for a little bit more than $200, but this was $43, okay? You cannot beat this price, and I actually wore this so much. I wear it all day. I've worn it in every single temperature, and it has been really comfortable. I don't have a ton of complaints for this. It is from the brand Arc'teryx, and I think they make a lot of this type of thing. They make jackets and they make snow pants and bibs, and for entry-level snow stuff, I seriously highly recommend them. There are definitely fewer features. So for example, this bib only zips down from the front, which means you have to basically take the entire top off to be able to go to the bathroom, versus a lot of the higher end ones that will have like a side zip or a zip around the butt, so you don't have to take your whole bib off to go to the bathroom. In my experience, I didn't find this to be too much of an issue. I also like how on the side it cuts down a little bit more. Since I ski a lot of steeps and bumps, I feel like this really helps me with the range of movement, and there's also like a very stretchy piece on both sides over here. It is very comfortable. So another thing that is a little bit lacking is there are only 2 pockets on both sides, and that is it. Flylow has like 5 pockets. In the pant leg, there's this zipper here that you can use to fine tune kind of like the width of this so you can put it over your ski boots. This definitely fits over my ski boots, and you can't say the same about all of them. I think I just have like more athletic legs and I have these like pretty big clunky boots, but yeah, these work. You can see how dirty they have gotten because of how much I've worn them. So yeah, if there's one thing that I will tell you to buy, it is this one. So these are actually my very first pair of ski pants, and they're about the same price as that bib, and it's definitely not as good. So the material is definitely not as waterproof feeling, I guess, and in reality it also didn't work very well. I think my 3rd, 4th day of skiing, it was snowing a ton and I definitely got wet, especially sitting on the chairlift where it was covered in snow. It just did not work out. And unlike the other ones, these pant legs did not go over my ski boots. And while that is not a huge issue, I did not like the way it looked. And I think it also affected like how warm I was. So yeah, I mean, while these are okay for $40, if I were to choose, I would definitely still get the bib. Next is this jacket, and I really just got this one to test it out and see if Amazon ski jackets could be any good. It is from the brand Moer Dang, and I think I accidentally got like the men's version of this because it looked kind of frumpy and boxy on me. This is very adequate if you're just starting out and you don't want to spend a ton of money on your ski jacket. It has like this really nice fleece lining inside that is very comfortable to the touch. It has quite a few pockets actually. There's an inner pocket, there are some side pockets, and a chest pocket over here, which I really like because this is usually where I put my phone and I feel very secure having my phone there. So the hood here is detachable, although I don't know why you would want to do that because usually you want it over your helmet, you want it down. Like it's just nice to have there for like some extra warmth, you know, if it suddenly gets cold. And a lot of the nicer jackets will actually have like a higher collar here that will get a little bit closer to, for me at least, it covers my mouth and it really offers an extra layer of warmth. And this one has this weird extra piece attached to the hood, and I find this to be a little bit awkward to use, but again, it's not a deal breaker. So yeah, overall this jacket, I would recommend it. It's definitely not the best, and it definitely has some breathability issues, so like this is a little bit gross. This actually happens with a bib too, just with any kind of like outerwear like this that is not higher end and bulkier is that if you're skiing, you'll sweat a little bit, and sometimes when I like reach into the pockets after I do like a longer run, it will feel kind of wet. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't really know where this moisture is coming from, but moisture comes from somewhere and gets trapped in the pockets. That's all I will say about that. This is another item from Amazon that I absolutely love. It's from this brand called Bayleaf, and I actually buy a lot of other types of athletic wear from them. These are their fleece lined leggings. So inside you can see this like softer fleece material. Outside, this is supposed to be water resistant, although I haven't really put it to the test and it doesn't really feel like it is very water resistant, but it is very warm. I usually wear this under my bib, and I love that I could just like take off my bib and I look okay, I guess. I'm not like a super high maintenance person, so I consider this to be very adequate for après. So this is usually what I pack for base layer and just my bottoms in general when I go on ski trip. I have them in 2 colors. I love these, highly recommend them. Okay, let's talk about socks. So these are the very first pair that I've gotten, and I actually have like 6 pairs of these. I started out using these. They're pretty compressing, I would say, and I honestly don't notice like a huge difference. It's just a little bit uncomfortable to still have on when you're done skiing because it's just really tight, but they have served me pretty well, and you know, they're definitely basic, and I think these are just synthetic. I've never really felt super cold in them. Like when it gets really cold, I definitely feel like I need some kind of like foot warmer in my boot. But yeah, I mean, these were like $20 for a 2-pack, and I think they were more than adequate. And now these are a little bit of a step up. It's just a few dollars more, again, for a 2-pack. So these are actually made with wool. I don't think it's 100% wool. It's from Outdoor Masters. I really think in general they make very good gear for a very reasonable price. And I think these are maybe like $25 for a 2-pack. These are definitely thick, but I think it works pretty well for me, especially in the boot that is supposed to be slightly bigger for me. So I think it fills in that negative space a little bit for me, and I've never really had an issue skiing in these. They make me feel very, very warm, and I kind of, you know, like the way they look. You can definitely see that they're thicker compared to the ones that Surefoot gave me, but for pretty much half the price, they're okay. Lastly, I'm just gonna do a little bit of honorable mention for these, which are hand warmers. I don't actually use them a whole lot because usually I am warm enough just in mittens. I will use these when it is lower than 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually I just pop them in my mittens and they work really well. I don't think there's like a huge difference between brand names. I think Hot Hands would be considered the brand name, but they're all like pretty affordable, and for me, like a pack will last me years because I maybe use it like 3-4 times a year and I ski like 80 days. I think these are like very good to have. I would definitely recommend them, and I don't think you need to buy anything fancy when it comes to this. So that will do it for this video. I hope I gave you some good ideas for what you can purchase on Amazon, and I really tried to give my most honest opinion. I will link everything that I can find down below, and let me know if you have any questions and if you want to see more videos like this. Yeah, I am so excited about the season starting. I cannot wait. I will be there for opening day. I'll show you what it all looks like. Probably be A-Basin or Keystone, and whichever opens first, I'm gonna be there and take you through it. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye!